What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Y'all know what today is. It is Friday, September 11th, 2020. Y'all know today is live stream day. Make sure y'all go ahead and smash that like button on your way in. Of course, y'all already know what my rule is. We get started when there's 100 people in the chat. And so far, I see some people here already. Let me see. Shout out to Gnome King, the Shadow Assassin, Anthony Bates, Darlene, Jamal Mitchell, Barbara. I'm sure there will be some more people coming on in. I don't know how the notifications are looking. And if y'all hear something in the background, that's just my fan. It's actually sitting on this table. But it's kind of warm today, so I need that fan. But what's going on to everybody? Shout out to everybody. I hope y'all are having a good day. I am. Friday's usually a rest day for me anyway, so that's always a good thing. Let's see who else we got in here. Israelite wife Rashona, AV the Great, Isaiah, Miss Cardi Queen, Everyday Peoples. What's going on? So far, we have 31 people in the chat. Need about 69 more. Let's see. K-Ba was good. Shout out to Outstanding Innovation for the first super chat of the day. Much love, family. Same to you. What's going on, Pinky JYB? What's going on, Tony? I hope everybody enjoyed the lengthy premiere video that I had last night. That was about an hour long. It was hard to get through, but I made it through. I actually made that video the day before I uploaded it. At first, I was going to upload it tomorrow, but I said, no, I got to put this one out like on Thursday because I didn't want a day in between because y'all know I don't upload on Fridays. What's going on, Pisces the King, Maurice? But I wanted y'all to see that and just get a kick out of those tweets that was put out there. All of them were pretty much ridiculous. Every last one of them, except for the ones that did make some sense, but they were few and far in between. What's going on, Jerome? Let's see, I got 45 people right now in the chat. I don't know why the chat on the app of YouTube, which is what I use to read the comments when I share my screen, doesn't match up with the ones that's on here, but I don't know, I guess. Let's see what's going on. Alana, Maximus Royalty. What's going on, Michelle A? Yeah, like the stuff that they came up with was absolutely ridiculous. It was just, they just pulled anything up that they could. And like I said, I can't count how many times they said BET. Like they went all out with BET. What's going on, Dana, Joy, Peace, Denise Baker? Now we have 52 people in here. We got a good show pretty much lined up today. I think it was one topic that I did have in here that I think I did take out, or maybe I added something in. I know I added in 3 topics for today that wasn't on my original lineup, and that's because they just happened. But I didn't want to do a video about it, so I said let me incorporate it into the live stream. But y'all will see what I mean when we get started. Yeah, Isaiah, they kept mentioning BET. But I still can't get over that one person who mentioned that Stars channel and actually put down the channel number. Like they actually had the channel number there. That part threw me for a loop. I'm on time for once. Maybe the notification went out this time. I don't know. It's iffy when it comes to that. Make sure if y'all haven't done so already to like the stream and share it with as many people as possible on your social media platforms. I don't know why it seems like it takes forever for me to get to 100 viewers. Joey P, you said you was going to delete your account. What account was you going to delete? Your YouTube account or a Twitter account? I'm not sure what account you was talking about. Isaiah said, do they even watch BT? They probably do. They probably do. I know one of them, when they mentioned something about OWN, they mentioned a show that comes on this. So I know they watch that. A network that has Oprah's name attached to it that she barely owns herself. Let's say I have 54 people in here. I only need what 45 more people? 46, I'm sorry. And he said, I'm 50% above the number. I need to be at 100% or better. That's what I'm trying to get to. But for some reason, it seems like you want to be stuck on 54. What's going on, Vulcan 2054? That video that I did about who was it? About Hall T. I knew that video wasn't going to get monetized, and it didn't. I knew it wasn't going to get monetized. They had sent me the little thing and said it was confirmed by review, we're not going to monetize this video, and I knew it wasn't going to get monetized. And the crazy part about it is I didn't call any of them out of their name. But because I knew the subject matter, it's because that's why I knew. If this thing ain't by at 4, if it's 406 now, this thing ain't at 100 by 410, I'm gonna just go ahead and get started with what we have, and people are just gonna have to be upset that they missed it. Cause it's crazy. I'm at 57 and it's 407. I know I'd be struggling sometimes to get to 100 within the first 10 minutes, but at least by now I would have probably been there. So they do little tricks like this so people can't see, these streams and whatnot, but we still gonna talk. People just gonna have to listen to the playback. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. Instead of me saying, I'm gonna wait till I get to 100, because I could be waiting forever. I'm gonna just say, just talk for the first 10 minutes, and then at 4:10, we just gonna get started. I don't like to want to get started right at 4 o'clock, because then it's like people still just kind of coming in. I'm just trying to see who all is going to be here within the first 10 minutes. And see, my numbers keep jumping up and down between 60 and 59, 60 and 59. And it's crazy because the stuff that I talk about on here, mainstream media probably already talked about. Okay, let's see. It's 4:08 now. 2 more minutes. And then we're going to get started. And whoever is here will just, they'll just catch in the beginning. And whoever is not here, they'll have to catch the playback. Crazy. I got almost, I literally probably, I checked my analytics. I have like almost 31,700 subscribers, and I can't even get 100 in 10 minutes for a live stream. What does that tell you? That's why I always tell y'all that y'all have to, if you can, you got to follow me on Twitter, have that bell turned on, because you'll get the notification from there. And those of you who follow me on Twitter know that. And also, y'all know every Friday I go live at 4. That's why I have a schedule, so y'all can keep in mind, because my schedule doesn't change. If it changes, I will tell you in the community tab or in a video, most likely in the community tab, that I'm making an adjustment to how I'm uploading my videos. It's not like I just upload my videos just, on an impulse, except for that. Unless it's a huge breaking story like the one with Chadwick Boseman, that was an impulse upload. Or what happened with Kobe Bryant and his daughter, that was an impulse upload. That was just out of nowhere because it was a tragedy. But other than that, my scheduling doesn't change. See, it's almost 10 minutes. We about 10 minutes in, and I only have 65 live viewers. That never happens. So, okay, we 10 minutes and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. But these two, well, the first two things, like, is actually, I guess you could say, in my opinion, good news. So the first thing that happened or that I heard about is after 14 long years, Keeping Up with the Kardashians is finally being canceled. Yes, finally being canceled off the air, whatever you want to call it. In my opinion, it stayed on for way too long, in my honest opinion. I thought that show was already canceled. Honestly, I thought that show was already canceled, but apparently it is not, and it is still on the air, but it is about to finally be taken off the air. So there's that. The second, Amara Woods, you said it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you said it's 1 o'clock. Or is that 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning? Because I don't know where you are in the world. I'm only going to assume that it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you're probably on the West Coast. Okay. Well, that was the first little good story. The second story is Tekashi Snitch 9's latest album, which ironically is titled Tattletale. When I found out that was the name of his album, I laughed, and at first I thought it was someone was joking with me, but they said no, that's the name of his album. Flopped. I think they said in its first week it only moved 50,000 units or something like that. So, there's that, I guess. So his album flopped. So that's also good news. Now, if only he can go away. It'd be killing me sometimes when I be seeing people actually try to hype this guy up. I'm like, you do know that this guy was an informant. Like, y'all, that's what we're doing right now in 2020 is hyping up informants. Well, it's crazy because those are like the little pre-show topics. I guess you can call them pre-show topics. And I'm going to go ahead now and segue into the main topics. And this topic was one that just got added into my lineup because it just came out today. And ironically, as I was talking about Snitch 9, the notification for that, what I'm about to talk about, hold on right quick. Someone is messaging me. But it leads me into this topic right here. Let me go ahead and share my screen right quick. And that's this part right here. Former terrorists, that's what I would put. Former terrorists charged in George Floyd killing turn blame on each other and seek their own trials. I think it was my Sasser who tagged me in this on Twitter a few hours ago. And the story was updated a little after midnight today. I knew this would happen. Usually when there's cases of this kind, of this magnitude, and you have multiple people that are involved, they will start to turn on each other. And but I think the hard part is trying to figure out whose story is actually the truth. Dee the best, yes, I can see you. But let me see what they're talking about here. It says attorneys for 4 former. Hold on, y'all. My screen just blacked out on me right quick. All right. I don't know what happened. My screen just blacked out on me. Hold on, I don't know what's going on. My screen just blacked out on me right quick. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I don't know what the hell just happened. Like I said, my screen blacked out on me while I was in the middle of talking. So I think I'm back. Okay. All right, so we're back. All right, where did I leave off? I wasn't even that far into the article. Okay. So it says attorneys for 4 former Minneapolis terrorists charged in the death of George Floyd say that each client should get his own trial as the terrorists try to diminish their roles in the black man's arrest by pointing fingers at one another. Loving it. Prosecutors say all 4 should be tried together because the nature of the charges and evidence is similar and it is impossible to evaluate any individual's defendant conduct in a vacuum. You got a point there too. Now that I see that, I can see why they said that. It could be a plot to try to do something different. Because see, the last update that we got was that they were trying to get their charges dropped. And I'm gonna be real here. Did they really think that was gonna fly? I mean, did they really think that was gonna fly? Let's see. It says here all 4 defendants worked together to murder Floyd. I'm not going to read the whole article. Chauvin, King, and Lane pinned Floyd face down while Tao stopped the crowd from intervening, enabling the other defense to maintain their positions. Defendants also discussed and coordinated their actions throughout the incident. Prosecutors wrote in a court filing. Prosecutors also say witnesses and Floyd's family members would likely be traumatized by multiple trials, and it would be more efficient and in the interest of justice to hold one proceeding. But defense attorneys are pushing for separate trials, saying they are likely to offer antagonistic defenses, and evidence against one terrorist could negatively impact another rights to a fair trial. So I'm actually seeing what both sides are actually saying. Either way, all 4 of them need to go down, especially this one right here on the far left. They all played a part in this. But this one right here, the Derek Chauvin, he's like the prime target right there. So what do y'all think? Do you think they should have separate trials or should it all be one trial? I think now listening or reading that part right there, I think they should all have one trial. They were all there. And why waste time? Like if you do and have all these separate trials, that's a waste of time in my opinion. The turning on each other doesn't surprise me. We've seen this before. Like I said, usually when it's a group like this, they're going to turn on each other. But they need to have one trial. Just let it be one trial. Don't drag this thing out any further than you already have, and let that be that. Okay, so I'm seeing everybody in the chat for the most part is saying have one trial. I agree. Yeah, we'll see though. Shout out to Solo Dolly, said one trial, lock him up. We'll see. But let me move on to the next story. Now, for those of you who watch Willie D, probably have heard about this story right here, where it says that at least one cop, when the shooting of Breonna Taylor happened, one of them had a body cam on. Now, I don't think that this was one of the three cops that we know of. This was a different one. I think his name is Tony James. They need to get a hold of that body cam footage ASAP. If they even still have it is the question. I'm talking about the raw footage, nothing edited or anything like that. But you know what they'll be scared of if they see that body cam footage? Because you know it was always speculation that Kenneth Walker was not the one who shot one of those terrorists in the leg. It was speculation behind that. If they can if they can get a hold of that body cam footage, that could also clear him as well. If indeed he wasn't the one that did it. Now, I don't know if the body cam was on, because look at it right here. It says a potentially big development in the Breonna Taylor killing. At least one of them who raided her home appears to have been wearing a body cam, raising questions about the police department's earlier statements that there was no body cam video of the shooting. But here's the terrorist, right? You look at him. He looks like he goes backwoods hunting. He looks like he isn't, like he is out in the woods faithfully. And his name is, like I said, Tony James. Clearly wearing the body cam, which is right here on the picture. It's his left, but it's really his right, and it's right there. And just like they said, what we don't know was the camera operational during the shooting. If it was, it could be the critical piece of evidence to determine exactly what happened inside of Breonna's home. But you know, them palm-colored pieces of crap and them co-colonizing cohorts of them that look like the Dookie stain emoji, they are literally revving up that she was some kind of drug queen, or they were trafficking drugs out of the home and all types of stuff like that to try to diminish her character. Just like with the whole George Floyd thing, saying, oh, he had opioids in his system and fentanyl and all kinds of stuff in his system, and it wasn't the pressure from the neck being clamped down by Derek Chauvin's knee that killed him. Appreciate you, Mars Morrow, for the super chat. And while we're on the topic of discussion of Breonna Taylor, I'm not even going to bring his picture up because I don't want to see his face. But that tap dancing jigaboon, Daniel J. Cameron, after 182 days and probably endless pressure from the people, whether in state or out, has now decided to possibly have a grand jury when it comes to the case of Breonna Taylor. I told whoever it was that tagged me into that, I will not hold my breath. I will not hold my breath when it comes to that, because you know how the things turn out. Now, this is just to have a grand jury to have them even be indicted. So like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath when it comes to that. Appreciate you, K-Bob, for the super chat. Yeah, I see that. Is the screen is Cocoa Butterfly. I see that the screen is blinking. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it's probably because something was going on earlier with the stream, and I don't know if it's the cause of more than one popping into that particular account. I'm not sure. Hopefully everything is back on track next week. But we gonna fight through this. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I won't get my hopes up, especially when it comes to Daniel Cameron. Appreciate you, K-Bot. He said he looks like Elmer Fudd. Yeah, he do. Elmer Fudd. Yep, that's a good description of this guy. You said that the screen was also glitching in Lisa's stream too. I don't know what's going on. Listen, we not new to this. We are not new to this. But let me move on to the next story. What is this? Okay, I saw. Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna have to open this up on another tab. Okay. So, Michael Bloomberg think he's slick. Shout out to Shadow KOF99 for the super chat. Michael Bloomberg thinks he's slick. It says Bloomberg donates $100 million to HBCUs schools with the goal of increasing number of black doctors in the U.S. And look at what school he wants to donate to. Funny, that sounds like the same school that Robert F. Smith donated to last year. And after his role with stop and frisk that affected mainly black men, shout out to Cocoa Butterflies, peace and blessings, brother. Well, peace and blessings to you. After this is very ironic. He wants to donate this money to a school that is for predominantly black men, only the gender of men. Shout out to Black Voltron, FBA 2020, BN1 salutations, Touring Rain Reloaded from smoky, ashy, air polluted West Oakland, California. Hashtag all buildings matter. That hashtag is ridiculous. But I hope that you're doing good out there, because I know them fires out in California are absolutely ridiculous right now. But it's funny he wants to do this from a school that caters mainly to black men, when he was the mayor of New York, or was the mayor, the governor, whatever he was, that title he had. I really don't care. His stop and frisk mainly locked up black men. And he was trying to run for president at one point, and now he is, he didn't get much of the support because people didn't forget what he did. They must think that we were born last night. No, many of us got the memory of an elephant. And the crazy part about it is, when stop and frisk was going on back in the early 90s, I was still a kid. I was like, probably 4 or 5. And I remember hearing stories about that from family members who are from or still live in New York. So I don't know what he's trying to accomplish here. It's not like he's running for any kind of position, but whatever. I guess it is what it is. A non-factor. Shout out to Latoya. She said another smoky, ashy Bay Area sub. Keep it going. Is that something y'all call yourselves out there? Appreciate you, Nicole. She said happy Friday, Torian in chat. Well, happy Friday to you, to one of the best scientists that I know. also someone else who's in California who got to deal with all that stuff going on in California. I wouldn't want to be in Cali right now. I would not want to be in California right now. If the screen keeps blacking on you, that's coming from my monitor itself. That's coming from my monitor. I don't know what's going on. They're not trying to let me be great today. Well, let me go on to the next story. Let me pause that. Okay. I don't know what's going on. This thing keeps blacking more and more now. Okay. So it says Florida Dem Andrew Fillum, as y'all know, that's what I call him, breaks silence, recalls lying in my own vomit after a wild night. Listen. It says, when that photo came out, I didn't recognize the person on the floor. We did. It's just amazing to me how much he's actually trying to cover up. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Press a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. Like I had to actually turn my computer off and turn it back on. I don't think that was a YouTube issue. I think that was a technical issue. But I had to turn my computer off and turn it back on. And see, when that happens, I can't cut the live stream out after I do that, even if I'm live. Because I have to actually manually come in here and click the off button, like in broadcast button. But I think that was a technical issue with my my computer, and I think I know what caused it. So we're just gonna pick right back up where we left off. And I'm mad because I was on a roll too, and I hate being interrupted. So let me get back to where I was at. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So we were talking about Andrew Fillum. That's who we were talking about before whatever happened just happened. So, as you know, he did an interview recently. I think it was with Tamron Hall, and his wife was there. Let's just say who she is. That's his beard. She is his beard. Let me pause this right quick. That's exactly who she is. That woman had to have known what her husband, quote unquote, was involved with. This almost reminds me of the whole situation with that basketball player and Jeffree Star. Y'all know I had did a video about them like about a month ago. Well, a couple weeks ago, because it wasn't quite a month. But he was up there trying to, let me see, what does this article say? Let's see. It says police found the 41-year-old father of three of former Mayor Tallahassee, capital city, in a Miami Beach hotel room after a night of apparent partying with two other men. Notice that they keep trying to mask who these men are, but we know who they are. I'm like, at this point, is no point of trying to not tell us who they are. We know who they are. They were escorts. We know one of them was. And remember, he said he was going to a wedding. Who goes to a wedding without their spouse, if they have one? Officers had been called to the scene on a report of a possible drug overdose by one of the other men. And by the way, like someone had said in the chat earlier, it was more than just vomit we saw on that floor. I'm not going to say what else we saw. It says by April, police photos from the hotel room were spreading quickly on news outlets. When police arrived, Fillum, who by then was a CNN contributor, was too impaired to talk to them, the Tallahassee Democrat reported. But in the interview set to air Monday, Gillum speaks to talk show host Tamron Hall. Now this article was posted on, it says 10 hours ago, so it is recent. I thought it already happened. Let's see. A substance that police believe was crystal meth was found in the room that night, although Fillum denied using the drug and was not arrested that night. One photo later published by a British tabloid reportedly showed he was unconscious and naked, though law enforcement officials at the time did not confirm it was him, even though eventually it came out that it was him. Let's see what else they say. When that photo came out, I didn't recognize the person on the floor. He probably didn't recognize the person on the floor because he probably hasn't seen that person on the floor since his college days. Oh, man. He said that was not anything more than a person being at their most vulnerable state, unconscious, having given no consent. And someone decided to use a moment where I was literally lying in my own vomit. You were lying in some other stuff, too. Let's see. Since that March night, he told Hall he has cried every day. But Fillum also said he remains hopeful of redeeming himself. I'm still here by the grace of God, he tells Hall. So much of my recovery has been about trying to get over shame. That's the other thing. He did say that he was going to rehab, but I don't know if there's that much rehab in the world. To be quite honest. But he might as well just come out and just say what many of us already now know, and that he is in the academy. He might as well say it. Because if you saw those other pictures when he was on the boat, one of those guys was one of the people that he was in that hotel room with. And I think he was an escort. Like, what? Listen, what married man and a father of 3 kids hangs out on a boat with an escort? It doesn't matter if the escort is a man or a woman. Like, what are you doing there with a escort and then just doing it so openly? Like, who does that? And if you look at the picture, they were very close. Like, I'm talking about legs touching. Like, there was no space between them. Exactly. Solo Dolo, he had his legs propped pretty wide open. So he can tell himself all he wants, what he wants, if he wants to do that. But we know the deal. His wife knows it too, but she has to hold on for dear life. She doesn't want to look embarrassed, but it's too late. You already are. And the fact that you are trying to still hang on shows how even more embarrassing you are, or how much you are embarrassing yourself. Like they say, the truth shall set you free. But let's move on from Fillum and talk about this. When someone sent me this, I was like, I couldn't breathe hard enough in more of a sigh of disgust. Just this person's name. GOP ex-governor Rick the Snake Snyder of Michigan backs Biden, calling Trump a bully. That's interesting coming from him, because we know how you get down, Rick the Snake Snyder, and the lack of help and empathy that came from you and your constituents when the people of Flint, Michigan, and probably neighboring counties and cities were affected by contaminated water on your watch. And this guy literally walked out of office. He wasn't removed. He walked out on his own cognizance unscathed. Now, there were people that was in his cabinet that did get affected, but he should have definitely been the main one. But now he says that he backs Biden. Mind you, Rick Snyder is a Republican. He's literally, in my opinion, pulling the same move that Richard Spencer is doing. I have no clue why he's actually doing that, but Rick Snyder, you are the last person to call 45 a bully. You actually have bodies on your hand. Not saying that 45 doesn't, as far as we know, but you actually have bodies on your under your watch. Let's see what they're talking about here. He said, you're throwing support behind Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, calling 45 a bully who lacks a moral compass. Well, if that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, you should have just stopped after bully, because you definitely lack a moral compass. Like, it's amazing to me that this guy did what he did, and he knows what he did, and tried to act like he didn't know what was going on. And then he's going to try to tell somebody else they lack a moral compass. That's funny to me. That is absolutely hilarious. Like, he tried to act like he did not know what was going on, almost like as if he was completely innocent in this whole thing. And I bet you at one point he was a 45 supporter. He was a Republican, so he had to probably support him at one point. So I don't know what he's trying to accomplish here. But I mean, I guess that doesn't erase the years of torture and pain that you put those residents through, Snake Snyder. And we ain't going to forget. I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the guys or one of the people that prevented people from, what was it? giving water to those people in Flint. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised, because I think it was reported that they tried to stop them or something to that effect of bringing water there. Had that thing going, it's been what it started. I think we first learned about it in 2013, and here we are in 2020, and they tried to cover it up with a band-aid. What it was, a $600 million. I said they need more than $600 million. They need way more than that. That's years of buildup, literally and figuratively speaking. No, I said 2000. No, I said 2013. Because see, here's the thing. It was going on before we knew about it. We probably didn't find out about it until 2014. But they said this has been going on prior to that, like in 2013. But the masses didn't really know until that following year. So I think it started in like 2013. Shoot, it probably started before that. So you got to think, we found out the next year. So this thing was festering on for at least a year before people even really put it out there. And it's still going on. I still can't get over some of the images of the people who got affected. Like when I was looking at their skin, like their skin looked like it was corroding worse than them pipes, and seeing the images of that filthy water. I said, that's water? They're looking like that? But P. you said my cousin lost his life. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, it happened under his watch, and he was able to walk away from that. So Rick Snyder, you can't tell anybody else that they lack a moral compass. Yes, 45 probably most likely does lack a moral compass, and he does. But you are no better. You are no better. Let's move on. Okay. This situation right here. I was not going to do a video about this. I had no intention. I said, let me save it for the live. And that's this whole Coonstress versus Queen Ratchet situation. I don't have to ask anybody in the chat, do y'all know about this? Because I know y'all already know. Who doesn't know? So you have two people who I don't like going against each other, like literally in one big bird fight, like pulling each other's feathers off. I wonder which one will win, but it doesn't really matter. So basically, how this thing pretty much all started is you had the Coonstress get on Twitter and basically talk about whatever. And then she mentioned that WAP song, which you all know is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion song that was pretty much everywhere for like a good 2.5 weeks. And she mentioned her, and then Cardi B responded. And one thing Cardi B, the thing that messed it up is Cardi B responding, because that gave the Coonstress ammunition. See, she needed attention. Shout out to, what's going on, Kendra? Shout out to the Crimson Cure. She said, I see you, fan, coming through with a like and some support. Appreciate you. So you had Cardi B responded, and so you got to understand, the Coonstress did not get an invite to the RNC, and Black Twitter lit her ass up because of it, in a very petty way. You know how I would, because she deserves it. But see, the Coonstress can't come at every Black person at one time, because it's more of them. It's more of us than it does of her. Excuse me, I can't get my words right. So I think that she did this to try to come back. See, here's the thing. Coonstress does stuff for attention. She does stuff for attention. And she likes to go after people, especially Black people, who she feels has a following or someone who can trend. Because it seems like every time Candace Owens trends on Twitter, it's her getting into something with somebody. But anyway, Cardi B ended up responding, and I don't know why, because, Cardi B is not the most articulate person. We can all attest to that. And she was basically talking, about how or why Joe Biden picked her to, interview him. Shout out to you, Stephanie Dews, for the super chat. Why she was chosen to interview her. And I'll admit, it was hard listening to her. And that's why I said she should not have responded, because that's what gave Candace the ammunition to respond to her. Because what ended up happening was Candace ended up responding back to her. And then it just went into a blown on back and forth. And then Cardi B mentioned something about how her sister had got into it with some MAGA supporters at the beach, because I think her sister is a part of Hall L, because she was saying that she was there with her girlfriend. And I don't think she meant girl who happens to be a friend, but I think girl who happens to be, her intimate partner. And then it just went from there. And I heard that Candace even responded a third time. At that, I don't know what she said. I don't know what she said the third time. I don't even know what she said the second time. But like I said, both of them are weak sauce to me. Yeah, Tanjon, I did hear that. I'm not gonna lie. That part when she said that, that did make me chuckle a bit. Like I don't know what it is with Cardi B and pronouncing some of her words, but when she was trying to say politics, it came out what did she say? Politics? I don't know. It wasn't politics though. And when she said that, I knew the Coonstress was going to come back and clap back at her with that. And sure enough, she did. And then she even did Cardi B likes to be like, always be talking about that. Oh, she even came back and did that. So it's just weird. But like I said, both of them are trash. Both of them are. Let's just be real here. But everybody was saying, "Oh, Candace Owens, she got Cardi B and everything like that. Whatever. I don't care about either one of them. But let me segue into something. Hold on. Let me get back here. And it's this discussion that the Coonstress had with Ben Shapiro on September the 6th. Now, I don't think they interviewed that day, but I think it's the day which is uploaded. And I have to give a shout out to Opinion But Facts, because this is actually how I found out about this. This right here is what made me go off on the Coonstress on Twitter a couple days ago. If y'all follow me on Twitter, I had said something in a tweet in which I said Candace Owens had basically blamed or said that black people, particularly black men, are more dangerous than white people and white police. But for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I want y'all to hear this. Now, this is 1 hour and 6 minutes and 58 seconds long. We ain't going to be here that long to listen to this. But just know that the most of this conversation was just her and Ben Shapiro, mostly her, because he was just asking the question and baiting her into responding in the way that she can to talking about black people in a negative way. But I want y'all to listen to this.
Are starting off inherently behind sort of the starting line. LBJ suggested, for example, that it would not be proper to simply remove all barriers to entry. You're still leaving people who are so far behind that they can never catch up. And that just wouldn't be appropriate to say, okay, now you're free to live your lives when they've already been systematically deprived of resources that other people have had in the United States.
Look, nobody will debate the fact that Black Americans were oppressed in America for a long time. The problem is that, and you're talking about LBJ's Howard University speech, where he said, we need to fix this, fair. We need to give Black people full freedom. We're getting rid of Jim Crow. Great, all of these things. And then he did the worst thing ever, which is he assigned white guilt to everybody and said, but it's not enough to just give them their freedoms. We all have to get involved and we have to do this and we have to do that. What I can say to you is that there is no group that has ever lagged behind another group that has gotten ahead with handouts. You have to at some point do the hard work.
First off, she just lied right there. She said no group has gotten ahead with handouts. Really? It's funny, Candace, because the group that you cater to the most has been known to get a lot of handouts, but they don't call them handouts. They call them subsidies. See, the handout label is always thrown and thrusted onto Black people. Exactly, Boulder Rockets. It's not about guilt. It's about accountability.
Right. So let's say I've been illiterate because I grew up in a Black America where I wasn't allowed to read. I'm not going to learn to read by you pretending I can read. Eventually, I'm going to have to learn to read myself. And this is sort of when all of these programs that are meant to instill equality, which are fundamentally racist in and of themselves, right? Like allowing more Black people to get into schools, which hurts Black America. These affirmative action.
There she goes. Well, she mentioned affirmative action. Now, affirmative action was supposed to be for Black people, but guess who got it? The PCW.
Practices, which was started by
the same type of PCW that this chick wishes she was, but she can't be.
LBJ and this initiative for white people to feel guilty enough to just allow Black people to be given accolades and scholarships that they don't deserve. It has harmed Black America over time because at the end of the day, you know the information or you don't. You can do it or you cannot. And here's a great example. Look at the areas in which Black Americans actually excel in. What are the areas we excel in? Sports, right?
Look at that. The area we excel in, sports.
Did LeBron James become LeBron James because every time he scored a basket, we pretended it was 4 points? Of course he didn't he did it because he did the hard work. He went after school every day, whatever it was, he practiced his game, and LeBron James became LeBron James because he did the work and he put in the work. So the areas that we excel in.
I'm going to skip ahead because I want to hit a part where she talks about Black people. All this
Obama, the smooth talker.
Let me see.
And you really can't unsee it. You can't unsee it once you learn the knowledge.
Let me see something.
Republicans is that they're suffering from PTSD. You got in 2020, you haven't lived. I've been called racist, I've been called anti-Black. So I think that is the most important lesson is just be courageous because at the end of the day, silence is not winning us. What I always say about the right, which is really interesting.
Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can
get Black Americans were discriminated against for the vast majority of America's history, really only alleviated legally in the 1960s and 1970s. And even beyond then, there were informal structures of racism. And therefore, that Black Americans are starting off inherently behind sort of the starting line. LBJ suggested, for example, that it would not be proper to simply remove all barriers to entry. You're still leaving people who are so far behind that they can never catch up. And that just wouldn't be appropriate to say, okay, now you're free to live your lives when they've already been systematically deprived of resources that other people have had in the United States.
Look, nobody will debate the fact that.
Okay, I already played that part.
I've always been conservative. I just didn't know that I was a conservative.
Bear with me, y'all.
Was, is it plausible that Black Americans are now and racism is being used as a theme to turn Black Americans into single issue voters? And the answer is yes. And I started researching and I fell in love with Thomas Sowell. I mean, it really.
Appreciate you. Outstanding innovation. He said all skin folk and kinfolk. Do you hear her? Unfortunately, I'm just trying to get to this one part where she made that statement because I want y'all to hear it straight from her mouth.
Story of falling in love with Thomas Sowell and his books, and he knocked me into reality. And
for what we are saying, it's always seemed to me that
everybody else says it first because you've been called racist for absolutely nothing for years. And the reason why Trump was able to make inroads is because he's rude. Right.
Having the courage to step into waters where angels fear to tread. You obviously cut this video in the aftermath of the George Floyd death in which you went through specifically his criminal record and up the reality of who
actually the most impressive thing he's ever done his entire life. Elevated, and you have little Black kids that are wearing shirts, murals being painted of him, calling him a hero.
Now she's talking about George Floyd. Nobody called. Listen, did anybody in this chat who is watching this right now call him a hero? Did anyone call George Floyd a hero? I didn't call him a hero. I didn't call him one. The only people I keep hearing call him a hero is her. She was like one of the first people I ever heard him be referred to as a hero.
Former Vice President Joe Biden saying that they're going to speak at his funeral. This is crazy. But you should also disagree with elevating this person to
on a character level. I mean,
I'm just kind of jumping around to trying to get to that part.
On the back of conservatives, it makes no sense. And you have corporations that are capitulating to this ridiculous narrative, and it just becomes a way for them to seize control and can seize power by reducing Black Americans to emotional toddlers, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a toddler response to things, not waiting to get more information, just saying Black versus white, and it's remarkable if you look at the actual headlines, right? We know that you're more likely as a white person to be killed by a black person the other way around. But when a white person is killed by a black person, the headline doesn't mention race, right? It's 5-year-old got shot by a man in Chicago. But the second that you
look at that, she mentioned Chicago.
They can look at the races and say, oh, look, a white person did something bad to a black person. The media just completely gets in on that and just race. And again, I think it's just a tool of manipulation, because if you can get somebody to react emotionally and not rationally, you can control them. They're yours. And I've always just tried to be the person that says, look, pause, reflect, think rationally, and wait to get all the details, and don't see yourself. I certainly don't see myself as black first.
Look at that. She says she personally does not see herself as black first. That's probably one of the most honest things she said this entire time. We know that, Candace. We just glad you didn't lie and say that you were.
Myself as American first. I don't see myself as a woman first. I see myself as an American first.
She doesn't even see herself as a woman first. She says she sees herself as an American first. She gave the typical palm color response.
And we just need to get Black America to a more emotionally mature spot than they are. And it's difficult when I said, as I said earlier, when you have systemic white guilt, it's very difficult to expect Black Americans to react rationally rather than emotionally.
So in the aftermath of your George Floyd video, famously Dave Chappelle went after you in his comedy special, and you handled it with real aplomb. I mean, you just sort of laughed it off and pointed out he's a cultural figure. He can say whatever he wants. It can't be fun to be attacked by Dave Chappelle in the way that you were attacked by Dave Chappelle. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. And what exactly did Chappelle get wrong about George Floyd?
Big girl perspective, that here is probably
that wallowing in victimhood was a terrible idea and actually crippling for your future. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if people in the political sphere know this, but when I was in high school, I went through what was classified as a hate crime. And I talk about that in the book, what happened, who the perpetrators were, and how the media sort of, when I was in high school, took a narrative away from me because they were...
Okay. Let me go back a little bit, because I think I might have skipped what I was looking for.
In Kenosha, Wisconsin, we've seen major riots in Seattle, we've seen major riots in Portland, in LA, in Washington, D.C.,
I'm trying to find that part.
In Chicago. Virtually every major city, all Democratic governed, has broken into extraordinary levels of rioting and looting.
What Ben Shapiro, or as I call him, Ben Shitpiro, and the Coonsters won't tell you is that, and I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but there's a video that I'm about to come out with probably in the next couple of days talking about some rioters that was up in New York, all palm color, with the exception of one who come from wealth and privilege, who basically were going around like looting stores and everything like that. I bet you they ain't going to talk about that. I know they not.
The media have informed us that all of this is apparently a good thing, that this is changing America in a positive way. Barack Obama suggested at the DNC that the protesters are really doing something.
Made myself a staunch adversary of the Black Lives Matter movement. It is the antithesis of everything that I believe in as an American, first and foremost. And no, yeah, they're operating under the guise of something that's common sense. Black Lives Matter, and they're doing nothing to prove or to show that Black lives matter to them, because they don't care about Black lives. We know that all across America, in major cities, Black crime rate has gone up, Black homicide rate has gone up. Black people are dying because of Black Lives Matter activism. People burning down and looting Black neighborhoods, taking away Black jobs. So I hate everything to do with Black Lives Matter, and I have used my platform and my voice to speak out against what is ultimately a big lie. Right? This is all built upon the idea that Black Americans are being gunned unarmed by a police officer. We're just peacefully,
I think that part I'm looking for is
coming
up.
And a police officer sees us and they come up to us and they want to shoot us and they want to kill us. And that's a lie. If you are genuinely concerned about Black lives, if I was going to be fearful in America, I would be more afraid of a Black person, a Black male, a Black perpetrator than I would be of a white person or a white police officer, going by the statistics.
There it is. That's the part I was looking for. That's the part I wanted y'all to hear. I hate that y'all had to hear some of the other stuff. Trust me, I do, because I had to hear it too. But that's the part that I wanted y'all to hear. She says that hold on, let me run it back.
Black lives matter to them because they don't care about Black lives. We know that all across America, in major cities, Black crime rate has gone up, Black homicide rate has gone up. Black people are dying because of Black Lives Matter activism. People burning down.
She said Black Lives Matter activism is what's killing Black people.
looting Black neighborhoods, taking away Black jobs. So I hate everything to do with Black Lives Matter. And I have used my platform, my voice to speak out against what is a person, a Black male.
Now, here's what to the Black men in the chat. This is what I really want y'all to pay attention to.
Black lives. If I was going to be fearful in America, I would be more afraid of a Black person, a Black male.
Listen to that. I would be more fearful of a Black person, a Black male. So what does that tell y'all? That the coonstress hates Black men. So to all the Black men that be blowing smoke up her ass as if she is like one of the smartest people on the planet, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. And I do mean the horse's mouth. Let me run it again, just in case y'all didn't hear it.
Peacefully, doing our business, and a police officer sees us and they come up to us and they want to shoot us and they want to kill us. And that's a lie. If you are genuinely concerned about Black lives, if I was going to be fearful in America, I would be more afraid of a Black person, a Black male.
There it is. I would be more fearful of a Black person or a Black male. Now, notice when she said, then I would be of a white person or a white cop. She didn't say a white male. She just said a white person or a white cop, but she had to make it specific when she said a Black male after a Black person. That's the part that I wanted y'all to hear. That what she said right there is what made me go off on her on Twitter the other day. But I knew not to tag her because the last time I tagged her in a post or actually mentioned her name in a post on Twitter, my account got suspended for like 3 days or a week or something like that. I forgot what it was. But that's what she said. She would be more fearful as of a Black person or a Black male. So that lets me know if she was walking down the street and she saw a Black man, she would probably be one of the ones to clutch her bag or cross the street. But now I can get off of this. That's what I wanted y'all to hear from that part. So moving on to this. Sorry we had to spend so much time on that part, but I was literally looking for just that piece, but I forgot where it was at. So what we're going to be talking about now is Jacob Blake speaking out from his hospital bed. Now, I haven't gotten a chance to actually listen to what he said, so this will be my first time hearing it.
We are hearing directly from Jacob Blake for the first time since a Kenosha, Wisconsin police officer shot him 7 times.
Your life, and not only just your life, your legs, something that you need to move around and move forward in life, can be taken from you like this, man. It hurts to breathe, it hurts to sleep, it hurts to move from side to side, it hurts to eat. Please, I'm telling you, change our lives out there.
Okay, so that's pretty much that was the statement he was making. He was just basically talking about what it was like for him in the pain that he's going through after being shot 7 times. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine that type of pain. And I've actually had surgery before, but I've had surgery on my feet, and that was corrective surgery. But I couldn't imagine what he was going through. Like, to have something that you use to help you function every day just be snatched from you in a blink of an eye, like your legs, the inability to walk is something that most human beings can do. That's just very upsetting. And he didn't lose like in an accident or anything like that. He was shot 7 times in the back. The only thing I can say is that he's extremely lucky to be alive, because hearing that he got shot 7 times in the back, I'm thinking, oh, he's dead. Because, there's some people who have been shot unjustly 1 time and they die. This guy got shot 7 times, point blank range. But he said it hurts for him to sleep. He said it hurts for him to turn side to side, which at this point is the only thing he can do because he's paralyzed from the waist down. Luckily, he's only paralyzed from the waist down, because he could have been paralyzed from the neck down and he would have been able to not move at all. He said it hurts for him to eat. Like someone said in the chat, he's probably on a liquid diet. So he probably at the point he can only drink his food. He can't eat it, anything solid. But wow. And it's also sad considering his family out there having buck dancing barbecues and whatnot. I think I talked about that on my channel on my live stream last week. But anyway, this part isn't about them, it's about him. But yeah, this story reminds me of one that I talked about. Well, I didn't talk about it, but I actually met the person. They from Pittsburgh. I forgot their name was Leon. I forgot his last name. And he was pulled over by some terrorists in Pittsburgh a few years ago. And he tried to, get away from them because they tried to jump into his car and they shot him in the back. And he ended up getting paralyzed from the waist down. I wonder if him and Jacob Blake will actually meet because now he's pretty much an activist. I actually had a chance to meet him at the Justice or Else rally back in 2015, the one that Farrakhan had in DC. And look at that, he's only 29. He's 2 years younger than me. But we'll see what happens. Let me move on to the next story. Now, this one right here, whoever is in charge of this needs their ass beat on sight. So, in case y'all haven't heard, there was this high school team in Texas, of course, it's Texas, that got a lot of backlash for the name of their football team. And the name of the football team, and I'm not even lying, is Cotton Pickers. Yes. And of course, most of the team is black. The Cotton Pickers. It says all it took was a short video of a high school football team taking the field for Robstown High to draw the ire of the internet. On Friday night, Chris Thomason, a reporter for KIII, a Corpus Christi, Texas television station, posted a pregame clip with the caption, "The Robstown Cotton Pickers come out before their season opener against London tonight." Here's the video right here, y'all.
Leave your bag on the sideline. Let's go to 25, guys.
This is a name for many that brings forth thoughts of slavery in America. The public high school located in a suburb of South Texas town has had this team name since the early 1900s. No surprise there. So you mean to tell me that this team has had this name for well over 100 years and nobody thought to change it? It says by Sunday, the video had been viewed by more than 2.5 million times. Many viewers expressed outrage or confusion, asking whether they had read the name correctly. Former Chicago Bears defensive back Charles Tillman called it so offensive on so many levels. I don't even want to read the statement they got. How can you try to excuse that? How can you even try to excuse that? There's no way that can possibly happen. Of course, PC came up with that name. You saw that they said that they had this team name since the early 1900s. That tells you all you need to know right there. So the Robstown Cotton Pickers. So not only does it seem that the Redskins are going through a name change, they need to go through one as well. Like, that is crazy. And I had to make sure that the reporter wasn't the one making up the name to come up to call this team, but that's actually the team's name. Shout out to you, Solo Dolo, for the super chat. He says Redskins names has nothing on this. You right about that. At least the Redskins names, that name was able to like literally not catch as much attention or that much heavy attention like this one did. Cotton pickers. But then again, like I said, it's Texas. It doesn't surprise me because it's Texas, the NRA's favorite state. Let me move on from this. Okay, R. Kelly update. I haven't done an R. Kelly update in a while. And if y'all watch Willie D, he actually talked about this on his channel. So as many of you probably know, R. Kelly was recently attacked in prison, viciously at that. But it just recently came out that the attacker, whose name is Jeremiah Shane Farmer of the Latin Kings, which is a very prominent gang in Chicago, was told by the government to attack R. Kelly. That I'm not surprised by. And the fact that he's in a gang doesn't surprise me to the fact that added on, it wouldn't have been hard for him to refuse that offer. And it's crazy because I think they had, well, for this to happen, R. Kelly definitely is in Gen Pop. But they don't have, it doesn't sound to me like they have any type of protection around him like they will give others. Because, you know, he ain't going to get the Epstein treatment. Not by far. But there were actually people on social media who was praising this. I don't know if they were praising it before this part came out or after, but I think it was more so before. They said R. Kelly's prison attacker has come forward and explained his reasoning for incident. Jeremiah Shane Farmer claims that the government made him attack Kelly and that he followed through in hopes of getting spotlight attention and world news noticed to shed light on what he calls government corruption of his own criminal case. They said that he has been convicted of a racketeering conspiracy involving 2 murders in 1999 where the victims were beat to death with a hammer. That's talking about the person who attacked R. Kelly. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if this was a government orchestrated hit. Yeah, a clout stabbing. This person did this for attention. Well, it didn't say he was stabbed. It just says he was attacked. They didn't say that R. Kelly was stabbed. It just said he did this for attention. Let's see. It says he went into further detail about his side of the story, noting that the mental health professional said you don't want to assault Kelly. If you did, you would have done it. Farmer wrote that he said some disrespectful back to the employee and was then told to go do it then. Farmer then stormed out and attacked R. Kelly. Now the R&B singer's representation is doing everything they can to get him out of the prison where he has been for a year now. They have tried unsuccessfully to get him out due to the current public health crisis. One of Kelly's lawyers, Mark Leonard, had this to say: "We are seeking a hearing in which we would get to examine Mr. Farmer under oath, as well as the personnel involved at the MCC Chicago, and ultimately seeking his release from custody, as this is yet another argument in favor of that." Just reading that lets me know that, yeah, he definitely was told to go and do that. But like I said, they would not put Epstein in this type of situation, nor would they put, say, what's his name, Harvey Weinstein in it either. I don't want to put the person's government name out there, so I'm just going to abbreviate it. Shout out to IH for the Cash App. All right, let me move on to the next story. How many of you heard this story right here? It's a 12-year-old suspended from school after reportedly playing with a toy gun during a virtual class. And it's happened in Colorado, by the way. And this is the boy right here. And this is the gun that they said that they saw. Now, listen. The gun has an orange tip. Is green. It says Zombie Hunter with a tally on it. I don't know many real guns that look like that. This boy could have been the next Tamir Rice. And what's scary is he is the same age as Tamir Rice. Now, they said that this happened on a virtual class. And that I don't know who did it. I'm guessing it had to be a teacher who did it. And they literally said right in the middle of the class that this boy had a gun. They said right in the middle of the class that this boy had a gun. And what's crazy is they did not notify this boy's parents of what happened. So I think the cops did show up to his home, and imagine they showed up to your home in probably full on SWAT gear, possibly, and you don't know why they are there. They could have popped off on not only him, but his entire family. Yes, it was a virtual class, meaning they was probably on a Zoom call. Shout out to you, Solodola, for the super chat. He said these teachers are evil. In more than one way. If they not teaching your kids the right thing, they demonizing you for something else, or they trying to sleep with you. And some are. I got a story coming up about that in a couple of days as well. Let's see, what does it say? A 12-year-old boy was suspended and had law enforcement called to his home after reportedly playing with a toy gun during a virtual lesson. KOAA reported the incident happened last week during a virtual art class at Grand Mountain School. The child's mother, Danielle Elliott, told the news outlet that she received an email from his teacher about him not paying attention during class and playing with what appeared to be a toy gun. Elliott says she told the teacher that it was just a toy, but then she found out a school resource officer would come to their home. She also shared a photo of the toy gun with several news outlets in the Washington Post, as well as KOAA. The toy is a Humorex Zombie Hunter airsoft BB gun with a bright green barrel and an orange disc, or as we like to call it, a tip, at the end of the barrel. Now, here's a picture of him with his collection of toy guns that look like mostly all Nerf guns. The only way this could even be real is if this was a movie. If this was some kind of one of those futuristic movies where the guns look like this and they wouldn't shoot out bullets or BBs, that's for damn sure. But they said Isaiah was later suspended for 5 days. The outlet said the El Paso County Sheriff's Office was also called to do a welfare check on the child. Now, that's crazy. They said El Paso County. Is there an El Paso County in Colorado? Can someone tell me that? Because the only El Paso I know is in Texas. Now, one thing that stuck out to me is that now this proves that without the shadow of a doubt, even through virtual learning, they can still implement the school to prison pipeline. Let me say that again. Even with virtual learning, they can still implement the school to prison pipeline. They say, oh, we don't need you to be in the classroom. We can get you while you're already at home. They said we may not be able to come to your home, but now we get a glimpse of you at your home or in home. through this camera. Because this could have escalated to something way bigger. This could have been devastating right here. That person knew that gun wasn't real. Or they could have just pulled I would say pull them to the side. They could have just sent the email and said, look, in the middle of the class, your son was playing with a toy gun that's not appropriate to do while we're in class. Sent that email to the mother or his parents, and let that be that. But this person notified the police before even notifying his parents. So the email was pointless. You might as well have just said, oh, I already notified the police too, and they're probably on their way to your house now. Exactly, or cut his screen off and send him a message, because on the Zoom you can type. There were so many other safer options you could have did instead of notifying the police before you sent an email to his mother. They were on the way. What was the point of the email? Meanwhile, you got these palm-colored students come up into the schools and commit these mass shootings with real guns. But that also says something else, that they don't like seeing even our youth holding a firearm. Look at what happened with Tamir Rice. Like I said, us just holding what looks to be like a gun frightens them. But they the ones that commit all, you know what? Y'all get what I mean. Let me move on to the last story that I have for today. And that's this story right here with this chick named Danielle Cohn. Who knows who Danielle Cohn is? Now, we just talked about Jessica Krug. We've talked about Rachel Dolezal and all these other culture vultures out here. Now, she didn't do what Rachel Dolezal or Jessica Krug did, but she did do something that got a lot of people pissed off. Well, and if y'all don't know who Danielle Cohn is, then I wouldn't be surprised, especially since it says she's a teen TikTok star. So Danielle Cohn released a song, a very familiar song at that, in which she claimed was a cover of someone else. But when you listen to the song, it was not really a cover. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play her video for you, and y'all can pretty much figure out who she's imitating or who she's allegedly covering.
See, my days are cold without you, but I'm hurting while I'm with you. And though my heart can take no more, I keep on running back to you. See, my days are cold without you.
So y'all heard it. Who knows what that song is? Someone typed the artist name in the chat. Now, they said this girl is a teenager, but she looked older than a teenager, I'm going to be honest. Foolish by Ashanti. I said Ashanti can't catch a break. They've been stealing from Ashanti for years. J-Lo. I just had to throw it out there. J-Lo has been one of her biggest thieves. And speaking of J-Lo, fun fact, the song One Thing by A-Marie, which was probably one of her biggest songs of her career, they almost stole that too. But they said her producers had to leak that song to radio stations ahead of schedule because J-Lo and her people was about to steal that song. Good thing they did that. They had quick thinking to do that, because that song went on to be a hit song. And I couldn't imagine J-Lo singing that song. I'm gonna just be honest, especially since A. Marie from the DMV area and she uses a lot of go-go influences in her beats. That wouldn't sound right coming from J-Lo. But yeah, they said influencer Danielle Cohn is facing backlash after being accused of trying to pass off Ashanti's 2002 song Foolish as her own. The influencer, who has 18 million followers on TikTok, has been trying to launch her music career recently. On September 4th, she released a cover of the Ashanti hit. Though much of the immediate criticism pertained to the quality of the song, many spoke out about how Cohn presented it. She asked her followers to go make a video to my new song without mentioning it was a cover. So that's why people went after her. And it's crazy because she didn't mention it was a cover, but when people went at her neck, then she tried to come out and say, no, it's a cover. Too late. You said it was your song. Even though many of us who grew up in that time period, because when that song came out, I was like 13. And I remember when that song first came out, that song was everywhere. Like you could not escape that song. That song was on like every R&B station, 106 in Park, TRL, anywhere, you know, where music videos was played, because, you know, that was before YouTube. So the fact that she said it was her song and didn't give any credit, but see, that's just how it is in this industry, or just period. Black people do something they don't get no credit for, or it gets stolen, and then when it does, they try to make an excuse as to, you know, don't make it into a big deal. That's what a lot of people said. They said Ashanti should sue her. Ashanti should sue a lot of people, quite honestly. We criticized Ashanti a lot back in the day, mainly because of them sideburns. But at least she listened to us, because when she came back with that second album, them sideburns were gone. But I'm gonna be honest, learning about the stuff that people actually stole from this woman music-wise, let me know that she actually had more talent than people gave her credit for, especially on the writing side of the game. A lot of people don't give her credit for her writing. I always say people who are artists should be good writers as well. But yeah. Well, that's pretty much all the topics I have for today. I know we had some issues, like some technical issues with the stream early on, but we got that taken care of and we was able to push through it. Now, before I get off of the stream, I have a special announcement to make. Many of you have been asking me, or in the comments saying, Torian, are you going to bring back the Palm Wars series? I had to sit down and think about it because, you know, I already have so many series going on as it is. But I decided that I will bring back the Palm Wars series. I had to actually re-edit it because, you know, on my new computer, I didn't have the Palm Wars intro on there. Shout out to you, Solo Dolo, for the super chat. So I will be bringing back the Palm Wars series, and basically that's going to be my version of white on white crime. So whenever a white on white crime type of story comes about, or someone sends it to me, that's what it'll be. And I already know now by me announcing it, some people are going to be looking through to see what kind of stories they can find to send to me, just so they can hear that intro. White History Month, that's already happened. That was a one and done type of thing for me. But I'm glad y'all did enjoy that. I'm shocked that I made it through that month with no issues. But I will be bringing back the Palm Wars series. Like I said, I already made the intro today. So yeah, it's going to be my version, like I said, of the white on white crime series, and we'll just go from there, because many people was asking me, was I going to bring that back? But this pretty much concludes today's live stream. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to the people who donated through the super chat. Shout out to the people who donated through the Cash App. Of course, we'll be back on our regular scheduled programming tomorrow. And y'all have a good rest of your Friday. Have a safe weekend. And I will talk to you in the next one.